I don't know about you, but say MAN to me and I think about heavy trucks. I don't mean heavy as in heavy weight, but I mean about multi-wheelers and Arctics. I think also about solid, well-built, reliable engineering, but slightly uninspiring. That was, of course, until our friend the TGA came along. But with that comes its own set of problems. To me, it seems like MAN have been concentrating on the heavy end of the market. But what about the lighter end? What about its forgotten range? What about the lights? And more importantly, what about the L2000? The L2000 was launched over 10 years ago, with the cab being made by their in-house company Steyr in Austria. Over the years it has undergone a couple of facelifts and it's recently been integrated into the Evolution range with the LE designation. Now on first impressions, despite a couple of facelifts, the cabs still look a little bit dated. Don't forget we've had completely new vehicles from DAF, from Renault and Mercedes since this was launched, and rumours abound that Iveco are going to bring out a new cargo. But that's the first impressions. More importantly, let's go and see how it stacks up against the competition. Well, first impressions are getting, I think, not bad, a bit functional. I mean, to me it's typically German. It is quite functional. It's not going to set a fashion, it's not a trendsetter. It does the job and you can't argue with that, it does the job, but you know, you can tell it is a bit older. We've got switches are a bit different, you know, the old style sort of 10 years ago. So it is it's a bit old-fashioned really, more than anything else. First thing that I certainly noticed was the steering wheel. This steering wheel, to say it's big, is a bit of an understatement. It should be on this Titanic, I'll tell you. It's enormous. I know German vehicles have got this tendency to have large steering wheels, but this looks like it's been sort of like all the vehicles been downsized from a tractor unit, but they forgot to put the steering wheel downsized that. It's enormous. In front of me, I've got the controls. Left hand side, I've got a tachometer, and on the right hand side, I've got the rev counter. Here, this vehicle's 140 brake horsepower. It revs something in the region of around about 2400 RPM for the maximum power, and torque-wise, it's about 560 newton meters. When we get to the economy side, obviously the rev counter's on the right hand side. I've got a green band here between 1500 RPM and 1800. Now that, to me, is quite tight. Okay, they have a greyed out band between 1200 and 2100, but we're seeing with a lot of these Euro 3 engines, we're seeing quite a large band nowadays, around about 800 to 900. Here, it's quite tight, about 300 to 400 RPM. Dashboard layout, instrumentation, to me, has not changed. I mean, I've known MAN for the last, certainly the L2000, for the last sort of 10 years, and it hasn't changed. Certainly not to me, anyway. I've always thought when the L2000 was launched that it had a nice, good, deep windscreen. So, again, that hasn't changed. So, visibility-wise, pretty good indeed. The L in L2000 designates a light range and covers two vehicles, the LE150C and the LE180C. The vehicle we are testing today is a lower horsepower version at 140 brake horsepower with 540 newton meters of torque. It's matched to the ZF 5-speed gearbox and has an unladen weight on the 4.6 metre wheelbase of just over 3,000 kilograms. Well, there is no doubt the L2000 is definitely showing its age. When it was first launched, it was a bit of a revolution, or should I say evolution, to use MAN's current advertising campaigns. But it's definitely been passed by a lot more of the competition. Having said that, it's quite reliable, it's solidly built, and I'm sure it will prove popular with a lot of its existing customer base.